So the nighttime temperatures in Pennsylvania have been down around 32, and I plan to go through and use a little UCO candle in this ICS tent in the under the vestibule with the door open to basically see how warm it gets. So I brought a little handy dandy compass slash thermometer, a little digital thermometer with me, just to see how warm it is. And right now it's almost 70 degrees out. It's pretty warm in the sun. But as soon as that sun goes away, it's going to get cold. Anyway, I'll update you as things progress.
Hey there, Basement Mitzi here. So, in this video, I've decided to go through and show a little bit of what I went through, testing out whether I could use a UCO candle to heat an ICS military issue tent. So, the ICS tent setup was during a drought here in northeastern Pennsylvania, and I gotta say that it was a remarkable failure. Um, what I did was I set the tent up, and it was probably about 30 degrees outside. And inside the tent only went up to about 44 degrees. So if you think that you're going to sleep out in an ICS tent during a drought and not use a fire to heat any kind of hot rocks or use a candle to create warmth, you're probably going to have a really tough time because without the right sleeping gear, you're probably going to freeze. Anyway, I gave up on that. I moved on, and the next step after the ICS tent was to go through and do a review. So I had acquired a teepee tent, and I set that teepee tent up because it's rated as a hot tent with a stove jack. And the MSRP for the teepee tent was it was on sale, so I think it was around 150 bucks. The stove itself was about 170. So I also got a good deal on that. I set both of those guys up the day before northeastern PA was going to be hit with the first major snowstorm of the season. I went out, set my tent up, and I have video of it all. I'm going to be showing it all to you. And I got to say that stove inside that tent works bomber. Now the only issue I have with the tent was the flaps, the storm flaps on the bottom didn't come with the tent that I actually got, which wasn't a big deal to me. I still like what I have. The tent has plenty of room inside it for at least two people in their gear. I set it up. I had plenty of room for myself with a cot, my sleeping bag, my backpack, all my goodies, and a pile of wood next to the wood stove. Now, only a few mistakes were made. One was I'm not used to using the wood stove inside this tent. So when I first set it up and tried to get it burning, I created a lot of smoke, and the excess smoke about killed me. After I got the smoke cleared out and everything was going good, and we were really getting hammered with the snowstorm, I noticed that when I turned my lights down, that my stove chimney pipe was bright red, and I was like, "Oh, this can't be good." And what it was I had moved most of the wood to the back of my wood stove in an effort to try to stoke it up, and all that wood started burning at once, which created a lot of heat, but it also created enough heat to almost destroy my stove. So you got to be kind of careful playing with the stove. You need to kind of keep everything forward of the chimney where you can cook on it. Now, excellent stove. I'm impressed with how it worked out. Now, I sat inside the tent listening to my little ham radio, my solar rechargeable light setup. I made coffee. I made breakfast. Inside that tent, I was basically in there with my t-shirt on, 60 degrees inside the tent with the stove ripping. So I got to say that this was a good experience for me because I slept out and I froze when it's real cold out, 30s and below. And at this point, I will say the other drawback that I came across was inside the tent, the walls sweat. and there was a layer of water on the inside of the tent. So anytime you get in and out of this tent, you're getting wet. When you go through and get in and out, you're gonna get drips falling on you. And I banged on the side of the tent and created a little rainstorm inside there. Now, the good news is I have the military issue MMS sleeping bag system that's Gore-Tex. So the water came down, ended up on the bag, and I just, brushed it off. No big deal. So this was a win. Setting up this tent, having it worked out, that was a definite win for me. So I hope you enjoyed my video. And if you did, like and subscribe. If not, maybe I'll do better luck next time. If you're getting outside, tell somebody where you're going, go safely, and don't burn your tent down.
sure if you could see me at all, but here's what we've got going on. I'm out in the teepee tent, and it's snowing, and we are due to get anywhere from 6 to 12 inches of snow. So I'm out here playing with this thing. And I got this thing burning pretty good, and it's finally starting to not be super smoky in here. So it is toasty warm, which you can tell by this thing how much smoke's coming off of it. It's a wee bit smoky. But yeah, temperature wise it feels nice in here. It's definitely warm. So this thing's kicking ass. The only problem I have with it is it's smoking like a piece of beef jerky. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Hopefully it's not melting stuff up there, because it looks like it sure could be. Let's look at that. I might have to take a closer look at that and hopefully trash anything. So I guess I'm going to be checking that out in a minute to see if anything's jacked up. Anyway, it's all good. Definitely a good day to be outside, I guess. Woohoo! Have an outstanding night. Woohoo! It took a while to get the fire going, but I got it going. And I decided to make myself some coffee, which might be hard to see, but maybe not. So, here's the inside of the tent. I went through and unpacked some stuff. And basically I've got my Goal Zero over here recharging my LED lights, which I have just crazily strung up. I also have both doors are open at the top for some ventilation, try to get some of this moisture out of here. And so far the heat is doing a good job. Right now the heat is, you can see it on here, 54.9 degrees Fahrenheit. So the heat's gone up a bit, but it was closer to 60 in here a few minutes ago. I let the fire burn down a little bit because I wasn't paying attention and put some heavy stuff in it. So basically I'm back to loading it up. It's loaded up good and waiting to catch. So it'll be a little while, but it'll come back up, and once it does, it'll heat the whole place up and cook me again, where I'll be opening doors. This thing's a little bit too warm. Good times. Anyway, so I'm going to enjoy my coffee and then clean this mess up and probably roll my sleeping bag out and take another little video. Woohoo! Yeah, pretty cool. I've got my rain pants on and my boots, and I'm listening to my shortwave Bayphone radio, which I don't know if you can see it there. Yep, there it is. Pretty cool. And there is about 6 inches of snow outside, which I guess I'll pick the little camera up and take a little trip. This is my wood pile and my backpacking gear, which I'm laying on. I don't want to burn my pants, so let's take a look outside and see how ugly it is out there. This is the craziest noise for me because I've never been inside a tent like this when it's snowing. And woohoo, winter wonderland. Ho, 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 ho. Pretty good for the backyard. Ventilation. Yeah. I don't want to cook my stuff or wreck anything, but back down I go. Woohoo. More coffee time. I gotta clean up my mess here and get organized for bed. One wild thing that I forgot to mention is that it's not super cold in here, so I'm actually in a t-shirt, which is kind of crazy considering that it was actually almost 60 in here, and it's slowly getting colder as I'm, waiting for this to kick back up. Anyway, good times.
And you're gonna want the air mattress in there. This is kind of a good way to stay dry in a tent that has this kind of stuff going on. Ooh, it's raining inside. Good thing I got Gore-Tex. And this thing's still kicking ass. Just so that I can try to get some heat out of this for the rest of the night, and I'm going to crash out and go to bed. But I figured I'd show off my lights. I got my lights down there on the floor. It's silly LED string lights